Well, let's see. And I'm live again. Of course, no, it seems like every day I wear a tank top, this tank top. Then whenever I try to set it up on my phone, it doesn't want to work. So I'm not going to be too upset. Yes, Mercury is direct. Yes, we're still in that post retrograde shadow. So I guess that's that. So you'll be looking at me instead of looking at the cards, which is fine. See, but I don't like it. Hey, Clarinda, welcome back. I don't even know if see, it still takes a while. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Let's see. This is so much to figure out. How are you doing today, Clarinda? And if you like, boy, I'll let you make that move. Okay. This is going to be what it's going to be. Actually, I need this a little bit more over here so I can see. Today's been so interesting because it's like I've been moving. Oh, 9 of Cups. Trying to do what I need to do, right? And it's not that I've been, 3 of Swords. It's not that I've been like, I don't know. It's just like, it seems like there's been a bit of struggle. Like we went to the gas station and I get in there and then they're having issues. People driving and been like, cutting people. Well, people do that all the time. 8 of Cups. Is this in reverse or is this upright? No, I think this is upright. Because if it was in reverse, the number would be at the bottom. 8 of Cups again. Come on, come on. You know what? This is just going to be a trust me. You're still in bed, just woke up. These are the Kawaii Tarot cards. I just got them. Kawaii Tarot. Wait, I think I held it. Yeah, Kawaii Tarot. Let's give it a second. I saw these online and it said Kawaii and I had to have them. And like, look at that. It's so cute. So that's what these are. And so the format is going to be the same as all the other ones. It's just going to be a different deck. These should be all upright. What is this? Ooh, 7 of Swords. 7 of Swords. I feel like lately for me personally, 7 of Swords has just been like, oh snap, is that the Ace? Oh no, that's the Magician. I want to figure this out. Hold on. Because I'm trying to get like me and the table. I don't know. But there was issues at the gas station, and I was like, hey, I'd like to put this much on pump number 6. And he was like, it's not letting me do pump number 6, so can you move somewhere else? I was like, what? And then like I'm trying to stream from my phone so I can have like the setup how I typically have it when I do this, but it was just not working. So I was like, you know what? And I'm wearing this tank top. Last time I wore this tank top, I tried to do the same thing. It didn't work. I was just like, you know what? I'm not even going to change. I'm just going to come on and you'll just see me. Okay. So last 10 days of Pisces season, 3rd decan of Pisces season. And then we move into Aries season. So with the 3rd decan, I don't remember which planet it is. If I was using the SKT, it would say at the top. Can I look it up? No, it's fine. But with the 3rd decan, we get more of a Scorpionic influence, right? So Scorpio is deep. Scorpio is also karmic. With this happening with the retrograde, the post retrograde shadow being in effect, I think there might be a little bit of settling. Because like Scorpio is like deep waters, right? And so I feel like the heavier stuff, it's like we dove deep. Okay, so this has been, especially the energy still in that top. Cleanse it. Oh, I did. I watched it. Like, is that not enough? I think it might just be today. I don't think it's the top, but I mean, I'll give it another watch, I guess. Um, oh, 10 of pennies, 10 of pennies, and the Knight of Swords. Okay. Um, what was I saying? So with the first 10 days, I feel like it was pretty chill. I think we were going deep, and we weren't really recognizing it. With the second 10 days, with that Cancerian influence, it brought a lot of the stuff to the surface. And Cancer also deals with the home, right? And I had a bunch of Earth cards, and I was like, oh, this is family. Um, and then, I mean, there was some family stuff, and then some extended family stuff, and then some like close friend stuff that's like family. But you argue, and you like there are moments in every relationship where it gets tested or tried. You can argue with family, um, and just like different ways of going about things. And so a lot of that got brought up to the surface. Oop, okay, all right. Who wants to talk? We got the Two of Swords with the Page of Wands behind it, and then the Nine of Wands in reverse. So with the Two of Swords and the Page of Wands, I feel like there may have been like a hasty decision that was made based off of what limited information that we had at the time. But with this Nine of Wands at the bottom, I feel like it might have put us in this space where it's almost like I don't want to make light of anyone's like actual serious conditions. And then the Four of Swords at the bottom of the deck. But I feel like it almost put us in these like PTSD potentially. I mean, it's been fine for some people. But it could have. Oh snap! 10 of Cups. I see you. Um, but it could have almost like transported you back to a different time, to a different space, right? And I was going to say it's almost like PTSD. Like something came up and it triggered you in a way, and through that triggering, though, something was able to come to the surface. And so it's like, you handle that, you deal with it, you process it, you make the decision. Do I want to move on from the situation? Do I want to, like, do I leave it? Do I keep going? Do I not? And with that decision, with the Page of Wands, I think at the time it was like one thing made sense because it just like did, like it was what you wanted to do at the time, right? And with the Page of Wands, like even with the Nine of Wands, I feel like if you want foresight, like if you want to make a decision that will last a long time, maybe not go to the wand suit. Because the wands, like even the king and the queen, can be very like in the moment. But the difference between them is that, like, they're mature. So, but see that wands energy though, it'll have you like, even if you're a king or queen of wands, you'll make a decision, even if it's hasty, but then you'll like live with it, even if it's not what you want. And like I'm like that too. Or I used to be a lot more like that. It's like whenever I get in an argument with somebody, anytime I say something, I mean it. And so, like, even if I'm upset and I'm like, you know what, I'm never going to talk to you again, then there's a part of me that's like, I said it, so I have to do it, even if it's not what I want to do. And in the past few years, really, I've been coming to this space where it's like, I don't necessarily have to always do that. And like, if I say something, I'm prepared to make that decision or to stick to whatever I say. I'm prepared for it because that's how I've always been. Um, but now it's like, I'd still go back and I have those conversations. With the Six of Wands, victory. And that's going to lead to new victory. You can't see these. There you go. Oh. So, yeah. But coming out of that, right, with that Cancerian family home influence, and even like another thing about the home, especially in like a retrograde season, is it's like tensions can rise in a house when you are interacting with the same people every day in and day out, and something happens in one sector of your life It's like home is the space where things kind of sort of pile up because you're less distracted than you are when you're outside. So, if like things happen outside of the home, where does all of the baggage get dumped, right? In the home. And then that's when you have arguments and fights between family members because it's like nobody in the house's fault, but they can't necessarily vent any of that anywhere else. But with us coming into the Scorpio influence now, I think, it's like the last stop, last junction before you leave. And it's like, is this something that I really want to do? Because, Scorpio is also karma, right? And so, especially coming at the end of this retrograde, it's like, what cycles are we setting ourselves up for? And I don't know. I mean, that's without any cards. Ooh, Ace of Wands again. Okay. All right. Brand new desires, though. It's like maybe, okay, what's this that tried to come out? The Five of Pentacles and the Four of Swords. So, Five of Pentacles, somebody left out in the code. And look, all the pentacles are at the bottom. But this is interesting because I said with Scorpio season, it'll be settling, right? And they're all settling at the bottom. That's being like left out in the cold. And then this Four of Swords, it's like two people making a decision. And with this Four of Swords, it's like a stalemate on stalemate. You got like one person that's kind of sort of up in their head about like whether they made the right decision or not, or like wondering if it could be any different. And then you have another person that's in the same area. And it's forming this space where nothing moves and nothing changes because the swords are crossed, right? But if you like straighten out these swords, let's say open lines of communication, or really sit back and analyze the role that you played, the space that you were in, um, then it's like maybe you can move forward. Because with that pentacle, again, it's like it's family or it's somebody close. It could also be health, right? It could also be a career. It could be a job where you feel like there's a stalemate, maybe between you and a coworker or you and a supervisor, where like there's something that you notice, and I feel like they kind of see the same thing, but since they're in a position that's a little bit higher, or since they make the calls, they're going to stick to what they said, even if they don't necessarily want to anymore. But it's like I was saying earlier, because it was going to be done. Um, but the solution to that would be communication. I don't know how much you can communicate with a supervisor. HR, go to HR maybe. Then we have the Fool and the Nine of Pentacles at the cut. So we move from the Five of Pentacles on the bottom, right, where it was one person being left out in the cold, or both people, because there was that stalemate. Then we go to the Three of Pentacles after we open up lines of communication, right? And the Three of Pentacles is all about partnerships. That's about, so this is how it's like we go from the Five, where someone's out in the cold, to the Three, where it's like we're opening lines of communication. We're sort of, what's the word? It's not like litigating, but we're just like talking. And then there's these like Six Pentacles that form this little rectangle. And that is about like give and take. That's giving each person the space to communicate how they felt, communicate where they were. And then ultimately at the end of the day, it leads to this Ace of Pentacles, which is a brand new, it's not like a brand new relationship. And then because it's with this Fool, right? So it's probably going to feel like stuff that you shouldn't do. And this might be a whole new way of you handling a situation like this. Um, but it's like if you can reconcile, or maybe even at the job, like, right, if this is related to a job, and if you can reconcile, like something like that shows potential within you. And then someone else can see that and they can be like, oh, okay, so there was this disagreement. This person was right. That person was also right because we only have our own perspective, right? But they were able to sit down together, and then maybe you find out that there's this person that you actually work really well with, and when you two actually talk and communicate instead of just being like bullheaded and not, it's like you work really well. You complement each other in a way that gives a better solution than either of you had separately. And that leads to this Ace of Pentacles evolution in that relationship that also brings forth more. And I think that's going to be, apply it where it fits, if any of this fits or resonates. But I feel like that's going to be part of the post retrograde lesson that increases the rewards that you get even more, if that makes any sense. Because up until now, what was supposed to happen happened to get you to reach the point that you reached to get your realizations, to get the other person to reach the point that they reached to get their realizations. And like you were supposed to reach that point because something needed to be known or experienced. That could be within you yourself. That could be for the other person within themselves, something about how it works between the two of you. But then it's like there's still this hanging opportunity to reconcile and then to build something better. And with that Nine of Pentacles, I feel like it's going to put each person in a space where they are more independent and whole on both sides. Excuse me, but it's almost like there was something that was shown to you within yourself that you wouldn't have been able to see either way. And maybe that's why this little bit of friction happened. But the friction didn't necessarily happen to dissolve something. It just happened to show each person something. And then you both, because it was four swords, right? Each person has a decision to make on how they proceed. I love these cards. I did not. Maybe it's because they're so simple that I can like just really go for it. And I ain't even started. Okay. So that's all I'm going to pull. That was all up until now. Ooh, Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords and the Fool. So I feel like, let's see. If I hold it close, maybe it'll, yeah, there you go. Ace of Swords and the Fool. I feel like Ace of Swords is being like, yep, that's truth. That's truth. That's the realization you were supposed to reach. But how do you proceed forward? That's on you. Okay. I'm going to give this 3 shuffles and then another, that shuffle, and then a cut. And then I will start to see what this third decan has for us. I feel like we're going to be, some things are going to be settling. Ooh, with the Hermit. Okay. The Hermit and the Devil. Oof. And then the 9 of Wands over here. But yeah, let's see. All right. So I'm looking for the 10 of Cups again. First card out is the Page of Swords. I feel like this is a page 2.0 because we got a new truth recently. Oh, Page of Swords followed by the 10 of Swords. Goodness. And look, they're going for that heart. They're all going for that heart. And that heart is already broken. That heart is already broken, and them swords are still pointed at it. But with that Page of Swords, I feel like there's a decision that we have deciding power in this situation. Followed by the Hermit. There's the Hermit again. But, you know, it's going to require us to really look at everything. Okay. I'm not going to read every single card, but ooh, Justice just came out between the Star and the Knight of Wands. So maybe something was done a little hastily. But, and then the 2 of Cups comes after the Star. I love this. I've been seeing the Star so much. Oh, and then there's the 3 of Swords, though. So, hey. It might be a hard conversation, but it's a conversation worth having. With the Knight of Cups coming, there might be an offer. But with the 5 of Swords, it's if you reconcile, if you go to someone, if something happened and you try to like talk about the situation, I feel like there's a certain element of, it's like you need to be removed enough that you're not approaching the conversation with all of the hurt. Now, if you're approaching the conversation with a means or with the purpose or with the point of like telling somebody like, hey, this is what you did and this is how it affected me, that's one thing, right? But what you don't want to do is like any like blaming. because I feel like there were four swords. They were crossed on both sides. I feel like, this is a both parties did something, but when you come back together, like, you should just not be in a blaming energy, right? But then also be open. So it's like, be open and vulnerable with how you feel, but also be open to how you make the other person feel. And I'm not even looking at these cards. I'm just putting them down. Okay. Let me make sure I haven't missed the Ten of Cups yet. Oh, I love that Empress. I love the Empress in this deck. Okay, I have not. I've just been putting cards down and not paying attention. I just found the Ten of Cups. Ooh. Okay, so. Oh, wow. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to lay the rest of these. I'm actually still going to go 3 piles deep. Um, but the Ten of Cups made an appearance in the second round. This is all about the present moment. And this is about choices that we have to make now that will dictate and determine where we go in the future. And it's interesting because the first time we did Pisces, the first 10 days and the second 10 days of Pisces season, the card came out in the same position. And they both came out in the third row, which means they were all about the future, something that's going to happen in the future, or something that's going to happen now that will affect the future, right? And it's almost like the future is now. Um, Everything that was supposed to happen happened, but now it's like it's up to us to dictate and determine how we move forward. It's like we're sitting at this just we're sitting at this space where we just like, it's hard to explain, but it's kind of what I've been saying, like, right, it's like we have the keys, it's time to drive. So we need to make a decision with how we go forward. What happened was supposed to happen. The choice, even though we've been making choices up until this point, I feel like the real choice is now. And like I said, that's that post retrograde shadow opportunity to increase the world, increase the rewards that we get, right? Because I feel like either way, it would work out, especially if you've been doing the work and especially if you've been moving. But there's a new truth that you've realized that you walk in now. And any situation from now, you approach with that truth. And that's another reason why, with the Five of Swords that comes in at that point of reconciliation, that's another reason why you don't want to be too focused on how hurt and upset you are. Because I feel like if you approach it from that space, there's a certain, like, the truth that you gain, the thing that you found when you went through everything, like, even if you approach the situation that caused you to go that deep into yourself, it's like, in that situation, do not forget what you found when you were down there. Because if you hold on to what you found when you were down there, and if you reconcile where reconcile is supposed to be had, right? Then I feel like it's like you're doubling, tripling, quadrupling, quintupling your rewards that you're going to get. It's like it could still be good, but you can make it better, because it's like it's the test of the truth that you found, right? It's like, I'm using the kawaii tarot, right? So it's like any anime, any video game. Okay, maybe not video game, but it's like in a show where you have a character that's fighting a foe that they can't beat. And so they have to tap into reserves of strength that they didn't know that they had, but it's because they'd never been in a situation that required them to find this strength. And once they get the strength, they don't like turn around and like leave, right? They use that strength to conquer what's in front of them. But what's in front of you isn't necessarily a foe to be conquered, but it's for each person in the situation to realize their strength, right? So even if this does go back to like more of a corporate thing, right? It's for you to know and realize and understand, like, okay, this person is a supervisor. So even though I might believe I'm right in this situation, there's a certain amount of deciding power that they have. Because me as an employee, there's a lot of responsibility that I don't have, and they still have people above them. And I don't even know if me talking to them is like them being stuck, or if this is like a corporate policy, if this is above them being like above them, and that's where the stopgap is. But it's like if you two, and then that person is like, they're reaching this point where they're like, okay, like what that person was saying does kind of make sense because we've been reaching this like plateau and we need to go higher. And I've been doing things the way I was trained or the way it's coming down to ensure optimal success. But I think that other person was right. Now, like if you can kind of see where it would require both people to sort of give a little bit, but it's not like you are abandoning the position that you held. It's just that like you are approaching it with an understanding that the other person also has a position. And once you work together, then it's like rather than you quitting and getting a different job, maybe where you make more money than where you were, and rather than that person just like firing you and then getting someone who might work, like who, like they might not get somebody who's better than you, but they might get somebody who's not as like, who won't bring stuff to them. Like that's a situation where they would both win. But what if the best outcome is for you two to work it out together, right? Because now you have an opportunity for some movement, right? And you also, like, whenever stuff like that happens in a workplace, it's recognized. So it's like, you can make more money, but then you also have more eyes on you. Your networking capabilities increases as you move up the chain. The people that like you talk to increases, like the level of people that you talk to increases, and then you get more access to their networks, right? And then that other person gets this lesson of like that they can take further up the chain, and let's say it leads to them adopting a philosophy where they are more open to the suggestions of like other people. And then because they're more open to the suggestions of other people, they get all of these good ideas that come in and they start to work on them and implement them, and all of a sudden the company is super successful, and you are the person who they're like, this all started with that person. And then you're like, wow, if I would have like got upset and if I would have left and if I would have quit, like I wouldn't have had this network, I wouldn't have had these possibilities. And then the other person is like, wow, if I would have fired that person and if we wouldn't have worked it out, we wouldn't have had all the success. um I don't know, it's just like the vibe I'm getting. Left at the bottom of the deck is the Nine of Wands. This time it's upright, right? So the Nine of Wands is the wounded warrior, but it's like you take the lessons that you learned on the battlefield and you apply them in other situations, right? Because like you're wounded, you're not dead. This didn't kill you. You learned what you needed to learn. Excuse me, but it's just like I don't know. It's reiterating what I was just saying, where it's like you went through the hard part to get this thing, but it's not over. I mean, it's over if you decide it's over. If you decide it's over, if the other person decides it's over, or if you both decide it's over, right? If you decide to quit, if they decide to fire you, if you're like, you're not going to fire me because I quit out of fear that they're going to fire you, when in actuality, they're not going to fire you, then like you screwed yourself out of that opportunity, right? And that's another reason why we don't need to be in this Five of Swords hyper defensive energy if we come back to that situation. It's just like it's painting a whole picture in my mind, and I haven't even started yet. But I feel like, again, with Scorpio, it's going to be settling. There's going to be this settle, like everything's going to fall to the bottom of the water. And it's like a tower. It's like an iceberg. It's better than a tower. No, it's like a tower. But you're realizing that the foundations of your tower go a lot deeper than you thought it did. It's like there's this tower, right? And so you go to the basement where you're like right below ground level, and like you're doing all this work there. But it's like this last time you went down and you're doing the work, and then you see like a staircase. or like one of those wooden latches, one of those like wooden hidden trapdoors, right? And you're like, what's under there? And then you're like, oh my gosh, the foundation goes so much deeper. And so now it's like, it's so deep you're underwater. And that's where that Scorpio influence lives. That's the real deep transformation. That's the power of Pluto. Like you can get these like Uranus-y like surface level changes that are really quick and just like reorganize everything, or you can get these very, very, very deep Plutonian transformations that you might have to cry through. Like Uranus is going to make you cry. It's like Uranus is like a shot. You get a shot, you cry, and then they give you a sucker, right? But Pluto is like full on surgery. And your sucker is that after you've healed, you don't have this thing that you were dealing with anymore. um, but yeah, it's like we realize that it's gone so much deeper. And I think that's where that extra reward is. Because it's like with this truth that you've discovered, there's an opportunity to seat that in the depths that you found it in and to fix it at that level, or to go even deeper and to instill it under that foundation and to raise the whole tower up, rather than just like, it's like you went under the basement, you went like 5 floors below the basement, you found this thing, and then you go back to the basement and you just fix it there. You know what? I don't know. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm just like, I'm kind of repeating myself, but it's what I'm feeling, guys. It's what I'm feeling. Oh wait, hold up. Where did this? Okay, it's right here. I was like, where did this 10 of cups go? So these come away. Everything else falls away. That's another reason why I love doing these readings like this, though, is because whenever I do a reading where I have more cards than what I'm gonna read, I feel like removing everything else just like helps clear. Um, it like clears out the rest of the stuff, and it helps me hone in on what I need to hone in on. If that makes any sense, um, or at least that's part of the intention I try to work into it when I do it. Because the first time I did it, I was like, well, it makes sense to be like, okay, so this is the realty. Oh, I love this. I love it so much. Ooh, ooh. Okay, well, I loved it until I saw what was on top. I love the reason why this is happening, because I feel like the reason why this is happening clarifies everything I'm saying, which also clarifies what Queen Cup was saying in the first like 20 to half an hour of her video that I linked yesterday. Now sitting at the top of the deck is the Page of Cups. I think this is the Page of Cups 2.0, because the King or the Queen of Cups would be that realization that we just had. But the Page of Cups is moving forward with this realization, because we've had an opportunity to be changed on a very, very deep level. And so when you love from this space, when you connect from this space, that's connecting with other people, that's connecting with spirit, like that's cups is connection. It can be relationships, it can be emotions, it can be spiritual, whatever. It's connection. um the way we connect is going to be different because of the things that we discovered potentially. I mean, I feel like it didn't happen the same for everybody. But there's an opportunity, like the way that you connect with people is going to be different if you choose for it to be different, right? And that goes back to the Page 2.0 versus King or Queen 1.0, because you can get this truth but still stay in a King or Queen 1.0 mood where you're fixed in what you know. And because you're still fixed in it, like you're still going to be perpetuating the same karmic cycles. Or you can step into this Page 2.0 where you take everything you've learned in the past, You mix it with this new truth. You learn to live from this new space. And then as you live in this new space, you graduate into a new king or queen. It's a different king or queen. And it's a lot closer to Empress, Emperor energy because your kingdom has expanded. It's like your kingdom's already expanded. And if you stay in a king or queen 1.0, the outskirts of your new kingdom is going to die because there's like different needs. How many times am I going to? I don't know. I'm sorry, y'all. Oof, oof. I've been seeing that card a lot. I've been seeing that card a lot in the past few days, too. And it's so interesting because I was like, I feel like, and I just revealed this, last night? But there was one point where I felt like it was a karmic cycle from a past life. And I was like, what? And then in my head, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Because there's like this subconscious knowing of an impending moment. And that's why I've tried to I thought I tried to do it differently, but that's the thing about like karma and past lives, right? It's like without a full awareness of how you did it the last time, what if you're doing it the same way that you did last time and you're perpetuating cycles that you don't even know you're perpetuating? But in my mind, I was like, I'm not doing it like I did it the last time. Why did it end the same way? And then, of course, like everything got quiet. And that's another reason why I was hermiting, because it's like, I feel like with choice and with everything going on, coming into this newer, higher vibrational energy, right? Like I've been saying, like we get the keys, it's time to drive. We're becoming more autonomous. We're gaining more sovereignty over our lives. And so it's like, it's the choices that we make. And that's like the easiest way to put it. It's still all about the choices we make. Um, and we can choose to make choices from the old space, or we can choose to make new choices. And that's ultimately going to determine how far we're going to go. And I'm in a space where I'm willing to choose things that I've never chosen before. And it's so weird that like after everything that happened, it's like I see and I know why it happened because I see the places that it's pushing me in. And like even me going to do that today, like I've been procrastinating that for weeks. Um but it's just like it's so weird because it's like this is who I am now. Like I'm not who I used to be. But the reason why just confirmed what you said. Oh, Clarinda, I don't even know when you said that. I'm so bad. I'm sorry. I thought you were just talking about cleanse it. Um, but the reason why I'm gonna be, or the reason why I am a whole new person, honestly, is because I'm choosing to be. And it's like that universe. It's like exactly like the universe has your back card, the one that says like, I recognize that in the past I had chosen fear. I choose again. And it's that one. It's like the one that's like in the past I used to choose fear, but now I choose again. I choose love. It's like it's exactly before you started this spread. Yeah, exactly. That's why I like this because I feel like I'm on some kind of like wavelength, right? I'm on some kind of page. Um, but it's exactly that. It's choosing love instead of choosing fear. And I've been getting, and like it's so crazy that this is how it all, like the thing that happened, it's like I've been preparing for it in ways that I didn't even know. Like with me getting more active, me eating a little better, drinking a lot more water, going outside and getting like some sun and some fresh air because I spend a lot of time back in this room, high key. But it's like when I go outside now, there's just like this clarity, this grander, greater perspective that I'm open to. And I was standing outside and I'm like, you know what? I don't know. And the sun was out that day. The sun was out that day. Hey, Miyoshi. Girl, you missed a whole lot. But the actual reading hasn't started yet. So technically nothing. Um, but I was standing outside and I was like hurting, of course. But I'm standing outside and I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't do anything differently. I wouldn't give any less. And there may be some things that I don't understand because there was still some stuff that I didn't understand within myself at the time. And like that's another reason why I hermited because I'm like, I'm still processing and putting this all together. I don't know what all of this means. Um, but when I'm outside and I'm like, you know what, I wouldn't do anything any differently. I don't regret anything. And if given the opportunity, I would probably do more. And I was like, this is such a weird space to be in. Bro, like really, you gotta breathe all hard at the bottom of my door like that? And then I don't know, it was just like this new level of love unlocked itself to me because I chose it. And that's when I came back and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be one of those people who doesn't trust anybody and who doesn't give because I don't want to be taken advantage of and who like, because that's not great. And that's not like I'm choosing not to be that person. And my heart is strong enough that if I get taken advantage of, I'll be okay. I'll be fine. But I'm just like, I don't know, feeling that just like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's really, that's just where I'm going. That's where I'm going. And it's a choice that I'm making to not be, but I don't, it comes with like, once I wish y'all could see these cards because I'm like, it's right here and right there. And like all of this. Ah, okay. All right. So I'm going to start reading now. I'm sorry. Let me see. I love the intros though. What intro? What you mean? What you talking about? What realization did we come to? LOL. Don't give in to fear. Yeah, I don't regret anything. Exactly. So yeah, Clorinda, the actual spread hasn't started yet. Well, I guess it started when I laid the first card. Like, so I'm doing the 10 days thing, Miyoshi. And so you've seen me do it before where I lay out basically like the whole deck. I'm looking for the 10 of cups because the 10 of cups is the third deck in a Pisces. And so everything I was talking about was from the cards that I laid down from the few cards that came out before, and it was all like confirming the same thing. But as far as reading the actual cards left for what's happening, I haven't started that yet. Um, oh, another video too. Oh, well, that last video was just me talking about my new Kawaii Tarot deck. Oh, girl, you in the anime? Kawaii! Kawaii Tarot ga, 先週の金曜日が買いました。買いましたけど、今日、ワルマートで、いて持ってきます。いて持ってきます。いて持ちます。I ordered it online last Friday and I picked it up today. I took a little bit of Japanese. 日本語が、少しわかります。A little bit. Now, if you talk to me though, then I'll be like, wait, super kawaii, right? But I don't know. It's just like, but honestly, I feel like I've never been more anxious than I've been in the past few days. High key, honestly. I'm just like, what's happening? But it's like, it's almost like, it's not, I'm going to give the analogy. I mean, I'm just talking about what I'm feeling. But it's almost like I'm in this ship and it's sinking. Even though it's not sinking, but this is just what it feels like. It doesn't feel like I'm sinking, but it's like there's all these worries and all these anxieties and all of these fears and all of these I could have did this different and I could have did that different, blah blah blah. Like it's all coming in, and as it's coming in, I'm just like scooping it up and like I'm like surrendering it, like, and it's this constant like I'm seeing it within myself, just like scooping it out and just like nope, 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 nope. Mm-mm. You don't have a home in me anymore, so you got to go because I know that I'm going to get to where I'm going, and I know that it's like for the first time in my life, I really chose me. And it was so interesting because I got on here a few days ago, right? And I was like, how do we show ourselves that we love ourselves? Like, how do we really do it? And like people are like, self love and stuff like that. But for me, it was making a decision to put myself first. And now it's like it's making decisions to get this work done. It's making decisions to go and talk to people. It's making decisions to get the ball rolling in my court in order for the wheel to really pick it up. Because at least I'm coming into this space where it's like if I want things to really happen, there are things that I know I have to do. And if I receive an insight to do something, I need to follow up on it because if I don't, either I'm going to stay stuck or I'm going to limit where I can go. And it's like now it's like that's how I show myself that I love myself by investing in myself, even in these things that I don't want to do. And I'm like 46 minutes into this video where I could be doing homework, right? Um, but it's like that's how you do it. And that's one reason why like I've been sitting on my little bed and I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't have done anything differently. And that's the realization it led me to. And then it led me to a conversation that I had with my mom about how we are givers and supporters to the point where we don't give to and support ourselves. And then I'm like, wow, it's time to break that. And it's been a lot of feelings and it's been a lot of realizations that came in a way that I did not expect, but it's what we do with the opportunities given to us and how we move forward with that information that really determines how far we're going to go. That is giving our spiritual coins weight so we can get them physical pinnacles and other things. That's how we increase the exchange rate of our spiritual coin. Um, whew. Okay, so anyway, that's a whole bunch of stuff that I've been going through. Now let's actually start with the spread. So one interesting thing to note is that, and this is a bit of the reason why I went down the path of it's like everything that we've been going through in the past on a certain level. I don't know how deep y'all went with the retrograde, but it's like everything that we've been going through is to make this decision that we're making right now. Because the first time I did Pisces season, the card came out in the bottom leftmost corner and it came out on the third stack. And so I kind of read it like past is the first layer, present is the second layer, future is the top layer. And that's like past, present, future in each sort of like thing because everything flows in part and as a whole. And so the first time it came out bottom left, topmost pile, forward thinking. The second time it came out in literally the exact same spot, bottom left, topmost pile, thinking forward. This time it came out in the second row. So I'm like, this is the present. This is the juncture point. This is the crossroads where we make a decision that will lead us further into the past, or that will carry karmic stuff further from the past, or will lead us further into a brighter future. And it came out in the top row this time, kind of towards the middle, instead of at the bottom left. And so that was like, when you read or especially like when you kind of just go with it, it's like little things like that that just sort of like add up. And so that's where some of the conversation came from as well. Oh my gosh. Oh yes, get all pruny. Pruny. Right? Oh well. I mean, if you like pass out and you don't drown, then you just wake up a little pruny. Um okay. All right. So we're dealing with the present moment. And I've been seeing this card so much. Oh, ooh, ah, okay. So we're starting at this hermit point, if you can see it. We're starting with this hermit. And with this hermit, I'm feeling like there was a light that lived in the depths of us that we never had the full opportunity to explore because it was not yet time to go that deep. Um, we moved from the hermit to the five of cups, which was a lot of past hurt. So you could have had an opportunity to address something, to address a lot of past hurt. And you're addressing past hurt in ways that like you look at the choices and the decisions that you make today based off of things that happened in the past. Let me keep this up here. Um, right. And it's like almost some of this, like you might not even necessarily know why you were doing it, while you're perpetrating the cycles that you used to perpetrate, while you're treating people in ways that you used to be treated, right? Because remember, I think I remember saying recently that it's like, we're always looking at someone to punch down on. And so it's like someone punches us and then we want to go punch somebody. So we find the first person who can do it. And a lot of times when we get punched on and beat up on the external, we take a lot of that stuff to the people we live with and to the people we care about. And we do things to them that we don't necessarily want to do. But you almost felt like you couldn't breathe. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, ooh, hot water. Uh-uh. See, I don't stick my head all the way under the water and I don't make the water too hot because I got too much Pisces in my chart. I'm not trying to boil. I was a lobster in a past life. Let me stop. But we're moving to the Six of Cups. So with this, there is this leveling up. But like, look, all them cups are upright. You got some upright cups and some upside down cups over here. So this is us, because of this hermit, choosing, we got the opportunity to dig to our depths, to turn these cups upright within ourselves, to then move forward in a lighter, just more, where are the words? In a lighter way. Because with this, and I've never felt cards like this. But with this four right here, with that little box, it's like this is the Four of Cups that we used to be stuck in. That's all the hurt and the pain that we used to be in, wishing for these like other things to come in and to be different. And it's like now, because of what we've been through, we have this opportunity to branch out from this hurt, stuck place, right? And to create these healing junctions where there wasn't necessarily one before. And it's like it's reason to celebrate because then the line becomes a three. Like we're adding one to two to get the three, right? But it's going to require us to come out of our shell. And the Four of Cups is a Cancerian card. So that was the last deck in the Pisces. I've been seeing the Six of Cups so much though. Okay, so that was all past energy. Ooh, I feel like I would feel like I'm drowning if I did that. Oh, I do like breathing in water though. But ooh, 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 ooh. Girl, I know I shuffled these cards. I've been shuffling these cards for a second. This is something I talked about already. So in the root cause, we have the Eight of Pentacles. And the Eight of Pentacles talks to us doing things a certain way because that's the way that we've always done it, because we found success in the future. It's almost like a tower, right? With this little halo up top. Um, but it's like the energy that we're moving into, we're going to have to do things in a different way. And I think there was an opportunity to realize that the old way that we were doing things is not going to serve us as well in a newer energy that's less dense. Um, like if we can elevate ourselves out of fear-based consciousness and limited abundance competitive consciousness a little bit, then the game that we play is completely different, even though some of the players may look the same. um but this is speaking to, like, there was this old structure that served us in a way that protected our minds, our hearts, our souls. We thought it protected our souls when in actuality it was limiting your soul's experiences because it wasn't rooted in some good things, but on the 3D level, it kept you safe, I guess, or at least you felt you were safe until you come upon a situation where it's outside of what you have built up. And so now you add this extra pinnacle at the top to get it closer to something that will carry it forward. We're ascending again. We go from the 8 to the 9 this time. And I've already talked about this card, how it went from the 5 to the 3 and then the 1. If this is about, like, I mean, that was, let's talk about new energy now. So there's this 8 at the bottom and then the 1 up top. And you can see that, like, even the way that the 8 is stationed is different, right? Because this is rigid. This moves up, right? There's no real, there's no flexibility in this. But this, like the way this is built, it's like it's rising. It's steps, it's ascending. And pyramids, ancient things hold knowledge. Like this is, you just, like, you get more, it reaches out further. And since it reaches out further, it's less stuck in what it has to be. Right. Oh, this is what I was talking about. Our kingdoms are expanding. Our kingdoms are expanding. So we're being asked to go from kings and queens 1.0 to pages 2.0 because our kingdoms are getting bigger, right? This is what the kingdom used to be. Everything was all neat and orderly, and you sat at the top and you could see everything because everything was beneath you. But now we're moving into this space where we are expanding. And so we're going from a king or a queen to a page. And so you might feel like you're a little lower, right? But the area that you cover is greater. And that's the reason why this has to happen. That's part of the truth that we've been led to see. This is the sword, right? If you watch the video, we did the deep diving to find the swords at the bottom of whatever. We're reclaiming our power through reclaiming this truth. And that's why I was like, oh, I like this, because it came out in the position of, like, why this is happening. Um, I'm excited. Let's see what you say. You think we have come too far to go back to how we were? Amen. And I feel like, honestly, I'm at the point where it's like, it's not that it's not an option to go back to who I was, but it's just like I feel so different that I don't know. Yeah, it's very that, but like times 10. Um, so now we'll look at the present moment. So in the present moment, we have the Six of Wands and we have the King of Swords. And we have the Ace of Swords. Girl, how did I get 4 cards in this pile? I'm shook. I'm shook. I really did that. This is fine though, because I have the Knight of Wands and the Six of Wands, right? So I'll read this as one. It's like, in the past, we found victory by doing things a certain way. And because we found victory by doing it that way, we got a little, oh, you can't even see that it says Wands at the bottom. Um, because we were so used to finding victory in the way that we used to do things, It's like this is us getting stuck in this Knight of Wands energy. This is us being super quick to make this certain decisions a certain way. And this is what's going to keep us stuck in the 1.0, because it's like when you change, the game changes. And if you're playing a new game by the old rules, at best, you're going to get questionable results, or you're going to get the results that you always got. And so that's like with us falling in the center, that's one of the paths that we can take that's going to lead us closer to the past. And then, or we could also come into this King of Swords energy. And I feel like this is the King of Swords because this is us taking this truth that we've just discovered. The reason why we're going through everything is us taking this Ace of Swords, and it's us really using it. And with the 10 of Cups here, like that's how we're really going to get everything that we want. Because we're coming out of this 9 of Cups, right? 9 of Cups is wish fulfillment. We get to see what it is that we want. But now, like, we're actually going for all of the fulfillment, but we're going to have to be cognizant of the truth that we discovered. Because if we're not cognizant of that truth, and if we're not operating in our new truth, then we're going to default to the things that used to bring us success. And the things that used to bring us success brought us success because they needed A, to get us to this point, and B, because they worked then, but everything is changing. And if you want to move forward, you got to start doing something new. Because if you don't do anything new, you're going to keep getting what you already got. Um, exactly. And it's like low key, like I reached this one point where I'm like, I'm surprised. And I think you've reached a point like that before, Clarinda, where like, and even like, like if you've been doing the work, you reach these points where you're surprised that you're not more affected by some things that happen. And that's when you're like, wow, like I really have changed because I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. And like, that's what I used to do. Um, but yeah, I just feel like there was like a deeper, further insight that's coming in. And we're supposed to integrate that into our foundation below the foundation that we thought we had. And when it's that deeply rooted within us, because we choose to put it there and because we choose to operate from that space, we become kings and queens on infinite levels, mentally, spiritually. Kings and queens on infinite levels, mentally, spiritually, into our very cores, where on the 3D, in our actual like reality, when we beat boop down here in the flesh, as the church calls it, when your fleshly body and not your spirit man, when your spirit man levels up, your flesh got to catch up to where the spirit man went. And so that's why we're coming into these pages 2.0. But our spirit man is already kings and queens. We're just learning to live in that in a way that better represents the kingdom that we serve. Um, yeah. Whew. Oh, I said I want to go. I don't want to go back. See you later, Clarinda. Are you still baking? Yeah. You really have to go and do some work. All right. See you later, Clarinda. Have fun. I hope that it's not too warm where you are. Yeah. I remember you said it's going to be a busy week. But hey, better busy weeks than slow weeks, right? I'm shook that there's 4 cards in that pile. So now we're moving in. Ooh. This is interesting. This is interesting. So we're moving into this space. So, like, that was the root cause at the bottom. The Ace of Swords is the cause. And then the end goal is up top. So they're slightly different. Um, but with this Hierophant here, this is all about establishing new orders, right? This is us writing our own books And like y'all see that cross on the book? That's like 2 wands, right? Then we got 7 wands. So there's this 10 of wands energy, this burden. I feel like, oh, Miyoshi, what was that video? What that girl say? Shout out for now, Clarinda. Thank you for stopping in. Love you. Um, I hope that it's not too humid for the fondant to do what you needed to do and make that money, girl. Thanks for stopping in. Did I say that? Thanks again for stopping in. Um, but I've recently, not recently, there was a time when someone said that the 10 of wands is like a very heavy, it's like a very heavy spiritual journey. And it's heavy in the significance and the power that it has along the way. And I think all of this is for us to reestablish how we operate spiritually with this Hierophant card. And with the 3 of wands, it's like furthering everything. It's the next step, it's the next evolution, right? And I think this energy came out at the top for the second 10 days because I remember saying like it's the next step of what came. It was either the future or the top. Oh, what, the Matrix? No. Yeah, one of the Mayan videos. Um, it's the next step in our spiritual evolution. And with the 7 of wands, it's like the 7 comes after the victory. So we already have the victory. We already have the accolades. We already have the thing. But how do we continue it? Right? 7 of wands always speaks to like having an advantageous position. And that gives us the 10 of wands overall. So it might feel like a burden to us, but it's only because there's such a great calling to rewrite everything that has been written. And this is everything that we wrote for ourselves. This is a whole new way of being. But it's the next step, right? And both of these, both the 7 and the 3 is the next step. The 3 is the next step in the journey after you start with the 2. The 7 is the next step in your campaign after you get a victory, right? It's like, was it Seneca? Seneca was a famous general who, after the war, he just became a farmer. And if you want to be a farmer, that's fine. But if that's your next step, that's your next step, right? And now we go to the future. We have justice, death, and the Knight of Pentacles. 11 plus 13 is 24. 24 is 6, and 6 is the lovers. But then we have the lovers behind this Knight of Pentacles, so it's going to be slow if love is coming. But justice, between justice and death, this is like, this is us seeing the merit in all of the work that we went through, seeing the reason why these transformations had to happen. And with the Knight of Pentacles, it's paving a road forward. It's paving a road forward into the future, right? Speaking of, I mean, we still got the Page of Cups sitting over here with the Ace of Cups, with the Ace of Pentacles right under the Page of Cups at the top of the deck, right? This is all about the 2.0 journey. So with justice and death, it's like, we finished the 1.0. We get increased rewards. And that's the truth of everything that happened. That's the truth behind the transformation. Blooming Rose, what up, girl? Hello, hello. Um, but that's the truth behind everything that happened. And with this Knight of Pentacles, we are building our own road forward as we go from on the 3D in our physical bodies, as we go from Pages 2.0 to Kings and Queens 2.0, right? As we continue forward higher in this ascension evolutionary journey, in this spiritual journey, right? The Knight of Pentacles is paving the way. And as we pave the way for ourselves, as we rewrite our own stories, we then are able to help others in a more updated way, right? Because it's like, you know, if you talk to somebody who the last time they had a job was 1962, the way that they went to go get a job is not going to be the same way that you go get a job, right? And so that's why it's like, you know, we're rewriting this. And as we pave the way ourselves spiritually, we pave the way for others to come. But it's for us to have the strength to do this because that's the calling, I guess. I feel like I've mentioned the calling. That's the calling. So that is the whole 1 hour and 10 minutes. But honestly, like when I was actually reading the spread, how much of that time was that? Just emotional. Oh wow. Well, I'm glad I could be a place for you to go to get a little fill up. Yeah, with that Virgo full moon, it could have been potentially interesting. And then Venus is like conjuncting Uranus, so people are like, "Oh, you can get offers out of nowhere." But also like, you know, I guess that's why, oh, I keep cutting to the Fool. You know what? Since the Fool want to come out so much, ooh, the Lovers was chilling behind the Fool. Um, just clarify this, Fool. Give me just whatever you want to give me. Fool, what do you want to say? I got a new deck, Lemon Rose. It's the Kawaii Tarot deck. This is the box. The box is super kawaii. It's Kawaii Tarot. It was like $11.90 on Walmart. I got it shipped to the store, so it was on like $1.90 shipping. So I got it for $13. This is the book. These are what the cards were in, and it's just like it's so cute. I saw it and I was like, I gotta have it. Um, it's very not like any of the decks that I have, so I feel like I need a new Oracle deck that's just as cute to like use in tandem with it. You know what I mean? It's not my usual style, but I love it. But yeah, I hope things settle down a little bit. Tell me about this Fool though. I'll give it 3 shuffles and then I'll pull from the bottom, 2 shuffles, pull from the middle, 1 shuffle, pull from the top. And there's a card. Thank you. Here's the one from the bottom. I did want 4. There's 1, 2. Pull this one from the middle. Oh, 2 from the middle. Okay. And then one last one and pull the one from the top. Okay. So left at the bottom of the deck is the 10 of Pentacles. I love that. I love that energy. 10 of Pennies left at the bottom of the deck. So the card that came from the bottom is the 6 of Cups. So for some of us, this could be, well, the Lovers was sitting under the Fool. So for some of us, this could be going with that soulmate energy. This could be, it could be approaching someone from the past, but it's only if they've gone through. Hold on. Clarify this. Because this might, oh my gosh, and then the whole deck falls over. No, I'll take these cards because they came out literally. Ace of Swords made an appearance. Ace of Swords, Queen of Wands, the King of Cups, and the Empress all came out under the Ace of Swords. This might be you. This might be the new truth that you're coming into. Right? With the 6 of Wands coming out in reverse. I picked it up in reverse, but I'm going to turn it upright because I want this to be an all upright deck. Like, I don't think it's necessarily coming back for you to find victory in this situation. With the Page of Swords, the 7 of Swords, the King of Swords, Temperance, and the 8 of Swords, like, this is almost like don't fool yourself or don't kid yourself into thinking that things are going to be any different. And I might just be interpreting it that way, but that's because, like, you know, we're still hanging on to this new truth. With the Page and the 7, this could be someone seeing that you're moving on or you're approaching this happy space and they're like, oh, I want to get some of that. And so the intentions that they're coming with aren't necessarily like the purest. But with this King of Swords and this Temperance, this is like to stick true to the realizations that you come into. And with the Eight of Swords, I feel like that's the part where it's like, don't fall back into the old mental traps. Like if someone comes back and all they're doing is talking, you see all these swords that came out, they're talking. They talking. And then everything is a sword. King of Swords, Seven of Swords, Page of Swords, Eight of Swords. And what's in the middle is Temperance. If they all talk and no action, like how long are you going to wait for these people? I guess. But I feel like it's coming back in order, like if you need some closure on the situation, then you can get closure. Like if someone comes back and you take them back and like it looks really good and it looks really pretty in the beginning, but then after a while it's like the facade fades. Um and the truth behind the mask that they're wearing, it's like, I don't know, you might think that this person really changed. But then the way that they speak and the way that they act is just like, yeah, you ain't it. High Priestess, but you'll know. You'll know when they come back if it's wishful thinking or if it's something that you're actually meant to have. What's up with like 5 cards falling out at a time? You're highly empathic. It's just a moment, Miyoshi. Got you. Yeah. That's another reason why I had to take a little hermit break. I just been like, you know what? I've been absorbing too much. I need a purge. And I've been it's like secondhand exposure to lots of like heavy things. And then it was starting to like creep into my dreams and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even get no peace at night. I need to just disconnect. But what came out crossing the Six of Cups is this Eight of Pentacles with the Page of Pentacles, followed by the Queen of Swords, then the Two of Swords, and the Wheel of Fortune. So this is something very like, I feel like there might be this temptation to go really, really, really quick with whatever comes back. But with this Page of Pentacles, I think this is to remember that, like, since you have changed the foundation, you've changed foundationally. So just because something comes back from the past and it looks good doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work now, because your needs and your desires and your wants have changed. Maybe aligning a little bit more spiritually, maybe aligning a little bit in other ways. And it could also be the case that like you're like, wow, this person came back and they're not bad, but they just don't fit what I see for me anymore. And then with this Queen of Swords, it's like it's gonna be a truth that you hold. And so either you're gonna turn into a Queen of Swords in reverse because like you know that this is how you want it being done and it's not being done, but you're not gonna walk away or cut the situation out, or you're gonna remain upright and you're gonna be like, you know what? I still like love you. I can see that you've been working. I can see that things have changed, but like in the time that we haven't been together or whatever, it's just like we've gone separate ways. We're going in separate directions. And there's a difference between going in separate directions, like completely opposite directions, and having your own direction that it's not that it's intertwined with someone else's direction, but it's like you're both going your own way, but in the same direction. And so, even though your paths will be different because you're not on the same path, right? You're still on different paths, but they lead in the same direction. Um, and that's what you're going to have to be cognizant of. But with this Queen of Swords, this is all about taking up that new truth that we just found with this last retrograde season. And then we have the Two of Swords, which is going to be a decision, followed by the Wheel of Fortune. And I feel like, oh, this is interesting because now I'm feeling like double energy. So it's like there might be this devil that comes back, or this devil energy. Devil energy can just speak to things that used to work in the past that don't work anymore. It could be just like old coping mechanisms, old things that used to make you feel good, but they don't hit like they used to because you're different. and because your needs have changed. And ultimately, you can run back to your old comforts, but when they no longer comfort you, girl, it's time to move on. My dude, it's time to do something new. Like the old ain't gonna work no more. And you can keep trying and trying and trying, but it's not going to satiate you like it did before because it's not for you anymore. Um, and so the reason why I say I was feeling the devil energy is because it's like I see this wheel of fortune, right? And with the Two of Swords, it's almost like someone is coming in and trying to wedge swords into the wheel to keep it from moving. And then with that Queen of Swords, like that's right when I was talking about like, don't go in reverse. Either you're going to go in reverse or you're going to remain upright. Either you're going to allow something to come in and to stop your progress, or you're going to be like, you know what? We're not, we're just not moving in the same way anymore. Um, but that's going to be the decision that you make with the Queen and the Two of Swords. It's the decision. You've already told two people I no longer have those feelings, so I thought, or once did. Wow. One of them today. One of them today, girl, they still coming back? Oh, they still coming back? Oh my gosh. I mean, I guess it is the post shadow. So, hey, retrograde ain't over until Mercury is 13 degrees in Pisces, right? Even though, man, I feel like I'm having technological issues and other stuff. Like the dude at the pump, he was like, "Oh, I can't put the money on that pump. You got to go to a different pump." I'm like, "What? Technology is still messed up. Mercury is direct. Bloom and Rose, you're in Aquarius. What is happening?" Aquarius rules technology. Mercury is in Aquarius right now. It's supposed to be direct, Bloomin'. What's going on? What's going on, Bloomin'? um, but yeah, but like nobody else can come and jab their swords into your wheel of fortune, because ultimately at the end of the day, you have to allow someone into your life to do that. And it's almost like, with this Queen of Swords, when I was talking about there's these two paths that are separate but go in the same direction. Like it's not this one path. It's not two people on one path going in the same direction. It's two people on two different paths that just lead in the same direction. Even when they like wind and stuff like that. Now they might do this sometimes, but ultimately they go in the same direction. Um, so it's like with that Queen of Swords, either you're going to ally with someone who will help you defend this will, or you will partner with the very person who sticks it in there. And that's where I'm feeling like the devil energy is coming in. Because it's like if we're in a space where it can't get to us, it will get to us through the people closest to us, right? And whenever I feel like I'm about to hit that shadow, that's why I'm like, okay, I'm hermiting, I'm pulling away. Because I can feel my shadow starting to it's starting to stretch, and I got to go down to the basement, and we're going to have a talk, right? I try to let the shadow out of the basement because I'm like, you know what? I ain't trying to do you like that no more. And so the shadow is out of the basement. And so sometimes, I don't want to be like, you want me to send you back down to the basement? And then the shadow be like, okay, all right, I'll chill. But then when the shadow is chilling, then that's when that devil energy come in from somebody else, right? And then your shadow start whispering in your ear, like, see though, like, but then you be like, then you like really look at it and you be like, nah. But it's like if you see past the deception, if you can learn to see past the shadow, you'll see the light because there's no shadow without light. Um, and that's what I try to do. I try to like see past the shadow to the light to see like what's being distorted. Um, we carry higher frequency. All right, Miyoshi. You blow out light bulbs and drain batteries. Yes, I know a few people have said that they do that. The only time, like, I feel like there's sometimes where, like, if I'm on the phone And if I start really talking about like a truth that I've discovered, or if I try to start going deep into it, then like it'll start to cut out, or the call will drop or something. I'm just like, okay, well, I guess you got to find this one out on your own. That I recorded that this side that side video, and I lost half an hour of that video. And I looked at my phone to see if it was still recording because I got a call, and I got a call earlier in the video, and it picked back up fine. And I'm watching it upload. It says an hour and like 50 something minutes. I'm like, how did I upload a 2 hour video just talking to myself? But then after it was done like processing, it was an hour and 20 something minutes. And so everything that resulted from that is just gone. And maybe those were like my insights. Um, it's either like my insight or it's like something that people have to find for themselves because the energy of it might be similar, but it's so broad that the ways that we use it individually will be different. And so it's up for us to discover that for ourselves, I guess. Yeah, that's what I say. Okay. So also clear that's this fool, right? I'm pulling cards for this fool because the fool kept making an appearance. And I was like, okay, well, if you got something to say, let's say it. So that was the first message. The first message is all about um I don't know. Now I'm feeling like this is inner child, right? Because the Six of Cups can be nostalgia. It could be reflecting back on past memories. I feel like this is like bringing your inner child to the table. And that's why it's a fool. That's going to be key in the page. So I haven't seen you in a second, Blue Monroe. So theoretically, we could be going from kings and queens of suits back to pages, but that's because we're manifesting new cycles. And so to operate in a new cycle, we need to do things differently because if we operate in a new space, the same that we did in an old space, we're bringing old stuff into the new space. And if you bring mold from your old house into your new house, mold will spread in your new house. And you like, I just moved. Like, this is the reason why I moved. And it's like, yeah, but you carried it with you from the old house. So that's why, like, I'm saying, like, page 2.0. So you can be a king or queen 1.0, where you rule the old space that you were in, or you can be a page 2.0, where you learn to operate in the new space, new energies, new whatever. Um, and so I feel like this is integrating more by itself, the Six of Cups, because I've been seeing the Six of Cups a lot. It could be integrating more of that inner child that we've left in the past, coming into more of the page 2.0. Yeah. Okay. So next I have the Emperor and the King of Pennies. Oh my gosh. The Emperor and the King of Pennies came out with the Fool. This is interesting. And look, they both have little crowns. Crowns. The Emperor and the King of Pennies. I feel like there's this increased responsibility that we're going to have. But the increased responsibility comes because once you know what you can no longer make the choices and decisions that you used to make. It's like there are consequences. There are consequences to our actions now because we know more of the truth. And it's just that, like, in the legal system, after 18, you're tried as an adult. Before 18, you're tried as a minor. And that's because it's like, before this certain age, maybe you didn't know better. But after that age, you know better. You are fully aware. In the Bible, it says, like, at the age of 12, you're responsible or something like that. But in reality, it's once you develop a moral sense of right and wrong, once you know right from wrong, you're responsible for the decisions that you make. And I feel like that's what this energy is saying. And it's not necessarily right or wrong, but it's like new energy or old energy, right? And so in the old energy, it's like, if we made mistakes, we were learning, we get some grace. But now with that Ace of Swords being revealed, it's like now that you know the truth, you don't get the same grace that you used to get. You just don't. Because it's like, and I talked about how, and I'm trying to recap this really quick because I don't think you were in here earlier. But like if you watch this is gonna be like a hour and 45-minute video. Um, but it's like I was getting it that it's like, the king and the queen 1.0 have this kingdom that they're in charge of. But with the world card, it actually came out last time. Oh, that live is private now. I can unprivate it. Um, but with this world card, it was like the ending of the 1.0, the opening of the 2.0. And then the page of pennies literally came out right after the world card. After I said, this world is the gate to the 2.0, and the queen of pennies was sitting out. Um, but it's like our kingdoms are expanding. We're going from this to this. And if we keep operating on this, everything outside of this is going to die. So, like, all of this stuff is going to be dead because we're only looking at this. And it's like we're responsible for more. We have more power. With power comes responsibility. Like, we're given knowledge and truth and awareness to use it. Like, unfortunately, there's no like with the Matrix, right? You take the red pill or the blue pill. And in the first movie, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, skip like a minute. There's this one dude who wants to go back and like be ignorant again, but he can't just take the blue pill and forget, right? That's why he goes to the machines and he's like, "Will y'all like wipe my memory and plug me back up?" And of course, they were like, "Yeah," because they wanted to get the information. But at the end of the movie, he died. Like, you can't go back. There is no going back. There is no unknowing what you know now. And so, since you know better, you have to act different. This is the increase of responsibility. We move from kings to emperors because this is the potential that we're operating with now. Instead of this, but that's the old potential. Now we're coming into this potential, right? And that's why there's this fool. The fool, the story of the major arcana, the reason why the fool is 0 in some decks, and then you start at 1, the magician, is because the fool goes through the major arcana, starting at the magician, and he learns along the way. And once the fool reaches the world, he starts over, right? But he starts over with all of the knowledge and all of the insights that he already gained. So he becomes a fool 2.0. He does it all over again, but with a higher knowledge, awareness, and understanding, right? And that's, I feel like, this shift from the king into the emperor. But with this being the pinnacle suit, this is like us having the power over the things that we manifest in our lives and in our reality. And it's like, okay, you can't keep saying that, oh, I don't understand why this is happening, or I don't understand why that's not happening, or blah blah blah, whatever. Because the high priestess, she was up here. I think I done shuffled her right away now. But it's like, once you know better, you do better. And once you know what you're supposed to do, you can run to other people to try to get some confirmation, or you can run to other people to try to get an answer that you don't want. But if you know, you're responsible for acting. And so if you're not seeing anything change, it's probably because you're not acting on what you know. And so that's why I had to move my little booty on to the interview today. 2 hours and 2.05 hours, actually. 2 hours and 5 minutes. But yeah, so moving on. The next card is the Ace of Wands. And look at that lollipop. I love this for the Ace of Wands because it's sweet. And candy, it's like, it's desirable. That's why the wands are candy. There's like, it's candy canes and lollipops. It's what we actually want, right? Unless you're eating carrots like me. Let me stop. But that's, it's like, it's clarifying this fool card, right? With this 6 of cups, like inner child. You have the inner child on one side. Then you got this lollipop on the other side. It's everything you desire. But with this sitting at the bottom, you are responsible. We are responsible now for creating it, or for having a more active role in the process. Um, Man, I love this. And then this is the card that actually came out before I started pulling, after I said what I was going to do. And it is the Nine of Pentacles again, right? So I feel like this time I'm feeling it as like, we are only responsible for the worlds that we live in. and we can't create anything for anyone else, right? And so maybe this is a way, as Queens of Swords, this is a way for us to recognize the partners that we are, the people who we're allowing into our lives, right? It's like, is this person creating for themselves, or is this person relying on me to create for them? And there's a difference between this, and this, right? This probably is not going to happen. This is what we should be looking for. This is what we should be avoiding. Um, but with this, there's a difference between each person being individual and Nine of Pentacles in themselves. And then since they follow this path together, that you get into this Ten of Pentacles realm. And whenever you have two paths that run side by side, there's this space in between, right? The space in between my two fingers. And it's that communal space where they're both doing what they need to do. It's like the middle of a Venn diagram where it feeds to both. And so there's a difference between your success and your alignment bleeding into someone else's success, and then theirs bleeding into yours, because it creates this space in between you two where it's just like it's electric, you know? And there's this charge in between the two rails. Like, that's different than carrying someone. Um and with this Fool, that might be a brand new realization for some folks, right? Co-creating or being in a co-creative space with another person is different than creating for someone else. But each person has to be doing what they're supposed to be doing. And quite frankly, high key, I have not been doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I've known for a long time what I needed to do for a long, long, long time now. And that was one of the things that hit me in the retrograde. It was like right before I went hermit, because it was like I was looking back at all my choices and all of my decisions, and I was like, I've been choosing other people over myself, and I can't continue to do that anymore. And I can't be upset or mad with anybody else but me. But I'm not upset with myself either, because at the time, those were the decisions that I thought were worth making. And so I feel like there was this conversation that I had to have with my shadow that's like, we're not going to blame anyone else. We're not going to blame ourselves. We're not going to look at things that could have been, because all of that was to get us, me, us. I like literally in my mind, I had like a little round table at one point with my shadow and with my light side. And then my inner child popped up. Kind of. He didn't really have much to input because he's new. He just got out of the basement like a week ago. Let me stop. Inner child was out of the game for a minute, and he's just like, "Oh, I just want what I want." And so, I don't necessarily allow him at the table when we're having big boy decisions. I shouldn't leave him out. I shouldn't discredit him like that. But anyway, not brand new, just acceptance. Exactly. Welcome back, Miyoshi. But yeah, so in the Fool at the bottom of the deck, I keep seeing this thing. I keep seeing this thing. And what's coming out of the crown? A flower. Is that a lily? Oh, it's a white rose. Bloomin' Rose with the white rose. Hey, there you go, Bloomin'. That's for you. That one's for you, Bloomin'. But yeah, it was like, I'm having this little round table. Cause then after I really think about it, I'm looking at my shadow, right? And I'm like, are you upset about anything right now? And the shadow was like, not really. And I'm looking at my light side and I'm like, well, are you upset about like anything right now? And my light side was like, of course not. Why would I be upset about giving to people? Hello. And that's how I was like, shadow, like, are you really fine with this? And my shadow was kind of like, yeah, like I'm okay with where things are. And I was shook. So then I was like, well, where is this coming from then? And then I was like, oh, it's coming from the way that I'm consciously choosing to see it. Because there's already a lot of separation between who I am now and who I used to be. And all of who I am now knows that everything that happened needed to happen. And all of who I am now knows that now that I have this knowledge and now that I have this awareness and now that I had that realization, I need to move forward in a way that really ushers in the new things. Um, and like, so like when I hermit, like that's a lot of the stuff that I like lay on this little bed and I think about and I do. And that's why I try to just like not really talk to anybody because it's like, it's just like I'm so far in my own head and I'm so wrapped up in myself that I like to be involved with anybody else would just complicate it, would slow it down. Um, and so, yeah. And then that's when I was like, I had the conversation with my mom and oh, snap, the Empress and the Lovers at the cut. I love that energy. And we already saw the Emperor. So if you had a King of Pennies in your life, or if you are a King of Pennies, you may have graduated to some like Emperor energy because of the realizations that you had, right? All of this is the third decan of Pisces. And this came out in the middle. We're at this junction where we choose how we go forward, right? And so, man, the cards are shuffling well and everything lately. Okay, I see you, Page of Cups. I see you, Page. Um, but yeah. And so it's like I reached this point and I'm like, okay, this is why, this is why. And it's not to go back and it's not to regret anything and it's not to do anything differently, but it's to move forward. And now that I know what I know, I have to act accordingly. Excuse me. So that's why yesterday I started on this homework and today I went and did this. And tonight, actually, I need to take care of some more stuff that I've been putting off. So I might finish this assignment tomorrow. Well, no, I'll just send a few emails really quick tonight. Um, and yeah, so that's what I've been going through personally. And so if my energies came out in the read, I'm sorry, but hopefully y'all can find somewhere where you can relate and you can work because I feel like to me it seems that like I feel like in some ways the collective is a little bit fractured right now. And it's because some people are getting the keys. Some people still aren't receiving the keys because they're not taking the keys themselves because they keep like every time you try to give them the keys, they pass them off to somebody else to get somewhere. Um, so some people will take longer to get their keys because they just keep swatting them away. Some people have the keys and they're sitting and waiting for the car to move, even though they have the keys. Some people have the keys and they're looking for other people to drive them. And so if they find someone, if they give the keys to the wrong person, then they're going to go in a direction that they don't necessarily want to go in. And then some people have the keys and are beginning to learn to drive. And so I feel like that's a little bit of the separation because I feel like the energy that we're in is it's so much less dense. It's so brand new, even though with your 3D physical eyes, if you look at the world, it might not look like it's changed or different. But if you're tapped into something, depending on, I guess, what timeline or what frequencies you frequent, um, it could be very different. And so, but regardless of where you are, we're being called to operate in the truths that we know. And the time for doubt and the time for fear and the time for looking back is over. I mean, you can still do it. Um, but ultimately, like, we have to move forward. And so, as much as like whatever ends up left behind, like as much as it would, oh, there's the world at the bottom of the deck. I love that. with the King of Swords. What's the 17? And the star. I've been seeing the star so much, so I got to take the star. Oh, and the moon. I got to take the moon too. So we got the world, the King of Swords, the star, and the moon. I feel like the star and the moon. Oh, and now the star is at the bottom of the deck because it came out in front of the world. Um, I am a vessel. I try, Bloomin'. Actually, I feel like you helped me reach this point, high key. I don't know if you remember, but it was the night that Miyoshi asked me. Um, you and Miyoshi, y'all were like, "Oh, it's time for you to step up. It's time for you to do more." And then you said something like, you wouldn't be called to do this if you couldn't do it, or something like that. So I thank you for that, because that's something that stuck with me as well. And I feel like I thank y'all a lot on here, and sometimes I say why I'm thankful, but I feel like it's just like the littlest things that people say and the littlest things that people do that are just like have impacts and knowledge that is so much more grand and so much more vast than what we realize in the moment. And that's another reason why I try to hermit sometimes, because it's like I get all these keys and then I get this feeling like I'm supposed to be doing something more. But that's because I don't know. But I'm also learning to like not live in a space where I have to analyze everything, right? So I don't have to hermit as much or as long. I don't have to hermit as long either. And maybe that's part of this new less dense energy, because it's since it's less dense, it requires less time to figure it all out. And then honestly, a lot of it I see unfolding in front of my eyes, and I'm like, I see you for what you are. I see you for what you are. I'm in this situation, which means this, and all of this other stuff is trying to come in, and I'm rejecting all of it because none of it aligns with what I know right now. All of that is old stuff, and I don't want old stuff. I want new stuff. And I'm not even like old stuff. I feel like in the last few days, I feel like I've changed significantly, and I don't know. So thank you for saying that. And thank you for saying that as well. I really appreciate it. And honestly, I had a moment when I was like, you know what? I'm going to be done with YouTube. I'm glad I ordered these cards before I reached that moment, because then I was like, well, I have the cards coming in on Tuesday. So got to do something. Um, but yeah, so I feel like that's where this collective, that's where there's this split right now. Um, and there's just opportunities for us to really come into the things. I don't know. It's like either you're gonna do it or you're not gonna do it. And if you do it, it's gonna be because you choose to do it. You're not just gonna fall into it, or maybe you will just fall into it. I didn't just fall into it. It was a lot of conscious decisions, and it was a lot of reflection, and it was a lot of me talking to every bit of myself. And so like it's almost like I got this like consensus between like all of me, right? And that's a space that I've been moving and progressing towards. Everything has been for this moment. Like, and I mean, I didn't do that many before, but like first 10 days, we were looking towards the future. Second 10 days, we're looking towards the future. Now, the next 10 days, the last 10 days of Pisces season, this 10 of Cups period, where we get a glimpse of everything we wanted after we walked away from. It's like you walk away from something, you see something that you want because you walked away. You get this opportunity to get it because you saw it, because you walked away. But now we're in this choosing point where it's like, what do we do? And anything meant to be here, I know will come back. And anything that doesn't come back, as unfortunate with the moon at the bottom, like the reasons might not necessarily be clear. But when you're following moonlight, you're going based off of your intuition. And when you're following the sun, you're going based off of what you can see. So I don't know. I'll keep having hope. But I've been seeing the 7 of Wands a lot too. Oh, and it has a little sign on it with the little candy canes. All right. So, since you've stuck with me for this long, if anyone has a if anyone wants like a few cards, I will pull. If no one like really wants any cards, I'll just leave. And personally, I'm not too much feeling like any love questions. I'm just gonna say that because like, is this person gonna come back? Is that person gonna come back? Like, I don't know, because I feel like those types of questions distract us from what actually matters. Or maybe that's just me. Because in this space where I really need to like build myself and I really need to do the things for myself, it's not that I don't have any room, but it's just that like it would distract me. Um, unless, we're heading in the same direction, then I would love it. Thank you. I'm glad that they are. Yeah, it's been a empaths just oof. Like we just absorbing a lot of stuff. I know lately I just been like I need to disconnect because man, it's too much coming in. I can't even feel my own feelings. Hello, me. All right, you have a question, Bloomin'? I'll pull you some generals. I like generals because then if love comes out, it comes out. So I'll pull you two cards for a general. You can tell me what's up, and if we continue, we continue from there. As a little thank you for being here, as a thank you for encouraging and supporting me and to helping me get to this space. Um, yeah. Okay. Let me give this one more shuffle and then I'll give it a cut and then I'll see what comes out for you and then we can work from there. So for my girl, Bloomin' Rose. Oop. I said two cards. Where all these cards come from? Okay, I'm going to look at them. Left at the bottom of the deck is the strength card, girl. Just pull for my highest. Gotcha. Left at the bottom of the deck is the strength card. So is that swinging arms sore? Let me stop. So the card that came out over here is the Page of Cups. Right. You can't see it. Is the Page of Cups. Now, if this is a page 2.0, I feel like this is an opportunity. This is interesting. I feel like this is an opportunity, a greater opportunity to step into more of your power, but in a way that is very like balanced and heart led, right? So this isn't necessary. Like this isn't a sword's power. This isn't a power that you're necessarily stepping into to like hack more people off. But it's a lighter space. It's kinder. It's more not sympathetic. And girl, and you're in your emotions right now. So that your empathic whatever is probably going like up, and so you're really feeling some stuff. And that's what I'm like feeling. It's like you're coming into more, but it's in a softer way. It's a little more subtle. So a little less Aquarius. You might have to go to knock on your neighbor Pisces door a little bit. Um, but let's see. Also, the Seven of Pentacles came out. And the Seven of Pentacles speaks of a harvest or growing the seeds for the harvest, right? So this is the Seven of Pentacles with the sun here. And if the sun is the eighth pentacle, the eight of pentacles is all about putting in work and it's all about developing a craft. And so I feel like with the sun card, with these new insights, with this new vitality that either you're coming into or you're going to come into, it's channeling that. It's like channeling your light in a way that soothes people. Girl, what? Are you about to be a healer or something? What kind of soothing are you doing? I don't know. It's just like, it's learning how to like project it so that it warms people. Followed by the Six of Cups. Oh, we go 765. We're going 765, Blooming Rose. We're going 765. So with that Six of Cups, it's the inner child, right? I think you're supposed to be learning to operate from a space of the inner child. And the inner child operates from a space of love, and it operates from a space that is less bound by fear and anxiety. But it's it's still curious, but it's not anxious. It's curious and not anxious. It's love and not fear. It's light and not dark. And I think you're going to be called to master that leading up to this eight energy. You had a call? Oh God. Oh goodness. It's fine. It's fine. Um so basically you're in this Page of Cups 2.0 energy where you are embodying more of your spiritual gifts, but you're embodying them in a way that is more aligned with the empathic side of you and less aligned with the Aquarian cut people off side. And I say that because it's like it's a cup and not a sword. And so with the Seven of Pentacles and the sun sitting off to the side, you're being called to really cultivate this ability, to cultivate this warmth, and to figure out how to shine your light in a way that brings light and warmth and comfort to other people, because it's almost like you're being made into this beacon, right? So with the Seven of Pentacles, it's like you're starting it now so that when you eventually reach this space, you're an Eight of Pentacles master, right? And then we move down to the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups, Six of Cups is talking about you operating in a space of love, allowing your inner child to do more, because the inner child doesn't fear and it doesn't worry as much, but it is still very curious, right? There's a lot that it wants to experience, but it doesn't worry necessarily about where this will go wrong, where that'll go wrong, and where the other thing will go wrong, and how much you'll regret it, right? And just like with that Seven of Pentacles, with the Seven of Pentacles, you don't plant any seed with the expectation of it not bearing fruit. Gentle, yes. And then so we go from Seven of Pentacles to the Six of Cups to the Five of Swords. And so I think this could either be you being steadfast. No, I think, yeah, this is you being steadfast in this new knowing. And like with that Ace of Swords being at with the Ace of Swords being in reverse and the Four Swords being upright, I feel like this is you being in this energy where you refuse to fight anything that is lower than you. That's the energy of like, I will not raise my sword because it would be overkill. Like you got strength. You're a Pisces moon in Vedic. Okay, all right. Because I even said, I was like, if you got to go knock on your neighbor Pisces door, Aquarius, to learn a little bit, then you might want to do that. But there you go. Um, you were told at 5. Oh, wow. And then strength is the card that you had left at the bottom of the deck. So I think this is going to be a new kind of strength. It'll be a strength that's a little bit more gentle. Um, and then you have the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords and the Ten of Pentacles. Wow. So this could actually open up a new avenue of abundance for you. Um, and I think this is also, it's a Page of Swords 2.0, because when you come into this gentler space with the Page of Cups 2.0, the way you wield your truth and the way you speak it changes, because you're wielding it and you're speaking it from more of a heart space that is less clouded by past hurt, trauma, emotions. It's like you're no longer in this self-defensive energy, right? You're coming into this proactive, heart-led energy rather than like heart shielding energy, if that makes sense. Um, and so, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that isn't necessarily like guidance, but as you come into these things, you're already experiencing. I don't know if this is like a heightening of your empathic ability where it's getting you so far in your emotions that we get to meet at. Hey, thank you for being here. But that's also something I've been wondering low key, especially with these dreams I'm having. I'm like, I don't know. It's something for you to cultivate. It's something for you to grow. It's something for you to hold in love and to realize if someone is hurting, there's this interesting space. Because if someone is hurting, then there's a certain amount of understanding that you're being called to have. And, everybody's been saying hurt people for like the past week. I've been hearing it all over the place. And it's true. But it's almost like there's a difference between someone reacting out of hurt and someone acting out of hurt. Someone reacting out of hurt is them responding to a situation. It's like they're perfectly fine. They get triggered and then they respond to a situation in a certain way. Someone acting out of hurt is someone intentionally going out and hurting other people because they've been hurt. Like, if you can kind of see where the difference is, then it's like, if someone is reacting out of hurt, then maybe be a little bit more gentle with them. Now, if someone is acting out of hurt, then they can catch a sword. But with this Five of Swords, like, this is learning to be able to feel and know the difference. And because you're doing this, that's what's going to put you in this brand new Page of Swords energy, right? Where you're a little bit less of a Queen of Swords 1.0 and just cutting people off or like ripping heads off, really just like letting that Aquarian tongue fly. You got Libra in your chart too, don't you? Oof, I think you might. Not that I'm trying to read your whole chart, but man. But I think that's it. It's just like you're learning to do it in a new way with the Four of Swords at the top of the deck. And that time, let me show the Four of Swords because I feel like instead of you like cutting somebody with this Four of Swords, like I feel like this is you having the conversation with them, right? Where it's like you can realize where someone like, because this is a defensive position for swords, I feel, right? This is them defending. And then like you're approaching them almost mirroring that vulnerability to get close enough to show them that you aren't going to hurt them. Um, it's just, I don't know, it's doing it in a different way. And then you're going to find that that's the type of strength that you're going to need moving forward to really get you into that Ten of Pentacles energy. Because it's like there are different flavors of strength. Like each, oh snap, I see the Chariot. Okay. It's like each king and queen has their own strength, but a cup strength might look different than a sword strength, right? Cup strength is vulnerability and connection and being open, even in situations where you may feel that you'll get hurt, right? That's cup strength. Sword strength is knowing your truth, sticking to it, speaking, and acting out of it, right? Acting from that place of truth. Um, I hope to meet all of you. Where did that come from, Bloomin'? But same. I'm still looking forward to that meetup. Um, Pinnacle strength is like being unshakable, but it's not unshakable in a pinnacle strength and wand strength almost feel similar because they're both unshakable. But wand strength is like acting in that unshakableness. It's moving forward boldly and proclaiming who you are. But pinnacle strength is standing who you are, standing in who you are. Pinnacle strength is being able to weather anything. So regardless of what comes to you, you will be solid, right? Whereas wand strength is like you going out and spreading that. And so like you might shake somebody else up. Um, but yeah, it's like learning to harness a different kind of strength. And there's almost like a temperance energy there, where it's like that temperate strength, where you give what is appropriate for the situation. You learn, or you're going to come into this. You're building this skill set to come into your light more, to spread your impact and to impact people in ways that maybe you don't necessarily see yourself doing right now. But it's like, learning the difference between when someone needs a kind, encouraging word or when someone needs a swift kick to the rear, when someone needs a spark to light them on fire. It's like, I feel like the way that you help and the way that you serve is going to change. And you're going to be doing it in ways that are very Paige. It's very, just like you did for me. Oh my gosh. Because it's almost like you could be in a situation. And with the Page of Cups and the Page of Swords, it's like the Page of Cups empathically, intuitively, you will feel a need in someone. And with the Page of Swords, you'll speak it. But with this page energy, it's not like this grand statement. It's not like, I mean, not saying that you will never be on a stage, but it doesn't feel like you being on a stage speaking to thousands of people. It feels like you being a light in your life and coming upon one person and coming upon someone else and someone else and someone else and making all of these life changing impacts in these very seemingly small ways. And that's why you might be coming a little bit more into warmth and a little bit more into light and a little bit less. It's like pull back from the swords a little less, go to the water a little more. But with that temperance, it's always like give when it's appropriate, right? Because again, you're not going to be someone that somebody can talk to any kind of way and not get it, right? Like, but you know, Libra much. Yeah. And so I feel like that might be the space that you're coming into. Um, so basically, like, just keep being you, girl. And yeah, I feel like I can see you warming up a little bit. And I don't know. I like it. I like it a lot. That's what I got for you. That was fun. That's the kind of stuff I want to do. What about me? Do I have anything? I mean, you don't have to stay and watch me, but if you want to see. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, that's a lot of cards, but I guess I'll take them. Left at the bottom of the deck for me is the Page of Wands. This is accurate. Page of Wands 2.0. Page of Wands 2.0 for me is me having the fire to do the things for myself. It's like supporting me as hard as I would support other people. And that's why it's Page 2.0, because it's like, I've never necessarily done that before. And I'd say I was like, I can be a little bit of a Queen of Wands sometimes, because like ultimately at the end of the day, I am who I am. I look like what I look like, and it ain't gonna change in the 2 seconds you done seen me. So you got eyes, you can see this is it. You get what you get. If you don't like it, move on. But you not liking it ain't my problem. Right? Let me stop. But here's this Queen of Swords now. And the Ten of Swords. Okay. Oof. Oh. Okay, thank you. Oof. Okay. Oh, I don't like this pile. This pile is so much energy that I don't have. I love it because it's expansion, right? And that's why I got the Page of Wands right here, because we're doing something brand new. It's a brand new spark, baby. It's a brand new fire. Don't let this one die, me, because you let a lot of the old sparks die. Don't let this one die. But I'm starting with the Queen of Swords and the Ten of Swords. I don't like that heartbreak in the middle, but I am at the space where it's like I will no longer allow the words and opinions of other people hold me back. And where I don't prefer to do certain things, I know that I have to continue moving forward. And that's this awareness that I'm coming to. That's the truth that I'm going to start living in, and the truth that I'm going to start speaking. Honestly, like if I'm not for you, I'm not for you. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And with this Page of Wands, with me doing for me, it's like I'm in this space where I can't even necessarily too much care. Because at the end of the day, it's time for me to give to me. And I would love so hard, to have somebody that I can encourage and support, because that is what, like, I do it, my mama do it, my grandma do it, it's in my blood. But with this page, we need to come into the space where we're doing it for ourselves as well. And I am. So next we have the Knight of Wands the Seven of Wands and the King of Pentacles. I said yes because this King of Pentacles is here. And the King of Pentacles, like, y'all can't even see it. Come on. There he is. The King of Pentacles. Look how happy he is. That's who I want to be. Um, that's the only energy I have in my chart. Like, I do have some air in my chart, but I'm more comfortable with earth and water. You have touched me with wisdom. Thank you, Bloom and Rose. I mean, you've helped share yours with me. So, um, but with this Knight of Wands, I feel like this is really moving forward. It's like, because the page has it, but the page doesn't necessarily go anywhere. And with this Knight of Wands, I'm almost feeling it for me. It's like once I master holding my own flame, I'm really going to take off like full speed ahead because I have all the tools. I have the skill set. I have the fire within me, but it's just time to stoke it and then to move it. It's almost like this fire that I have needs so much oxygen that if it stays in one space for too long, it's going to burn itself out. And so I have to move from space to space. I have to keep moving to keep feeding new, fresh oxygen into this fire to keep it moving. And that's kind of sort of conflicting with this King of Pentacles sitting at the end of the row. And with this Seven of Wands, three of these candy canes are pointing in the direction of the King of Pentacles on the table. And the other four are pointing to the direction of the King of Wands. So if this was like a Page of Swords and a King, or if this was a Knight of Swords and a King of Pentacles, I would feel more comfortable saying like this is a mobile fortress energy, but it came to me as mobile fortress energy. And with the Seven of Wands, it's like it's the six plus the ace, or it's the six. Well, okay, there is this knight here, so the knight has an ace, but it's the six plus an ace, where it's like there's victory, yeah, and there's a sun on this card, another sun. Do all of the sevens have suns on them? It's time to express that light, which is literally what I just said, right? But with the six plus the ace, it's like there is victory that I have within me, but it's time to like to move it forward. And that's the seven, right? It's the advantageous position. Like you're already in this spot to succeed. There's already this space prepared for me, but I'm not moving into it. It's almost like small town dude with worldwide dreams, where it's like, honestly, I'm getting the feeling that I'm not going to be supported where I am. And it's not that I'm not going to find support where I am, but I feel like they're not going to allow me to get too complacent with where I am because I'm supposed to go somewhere else. And so there's a lot of stuff that I won't find here just for the simple fact that with this King of Pentacles is Taurian energy. It's so that I don't get comfortable because this isn't where I stop. And so why would we make it super comfortable for you in this space? Like why would we allow you to get comfortable if that's not the space that you're supposed to be in? Because knowing you, Patrick, and we do, like we know everybody, this is spirit talking to me. But it's like knowing you, like we know that you would stop there if you were comfortable. And that's why we're giving you all of these wands and all of these swords. Like you know it. You know this so much, you got 10 of them. And it might break your little heart. It might break your little lazy Taurus heart that you're going to have to move, that you can't settle. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's like it's what I want the most. And so the last two cards are the Queen of Wands and the High Priestess. Girl, tell me why I got every person in the Royal Wands family besides the King. Maybe my King of Wands is out there. If you got some Leo in your chart, hey, hit me up. I'm coming into my fire and I'm ready to move. But yeah, with the Queen of Wands, this is interesting because we go from page 2.0 to Knight to Queen. So there's almost, and this is fire, right? This is quick. It's almost like, and with this High Priestess, that's like a knowing. And I know all of this. I don't need the cards to tell me because I feel it. I know it. But in the past, it was like knowing wasn't enough to get me to do everything that I needed to do. And because of the last few days, I know exactly why that is. And with this Queen of Swords coming out up top, it's for me to wield that knowledge, wield that truth, and to stand in it. And then coming into this Queen of Pentacles at the bottom, it's to act from that and to express it moving forward. Um, and yeah, there are so many wands on this table. There's 10 wands. If I do the 7 of Wands plus 1 wand from the Knight, plus 1 wand from the Queen, plus 1 wand from the Page, I get 10 wands. 10 wands and 10 swords. That's a lot of movement. And then you got this poor little King of Pentacles that's just like, I'm just trying to chill at the palace, you know? Like, I'm just trying to like sit on my king size, like just take a nap, maybe for like 48 hours. But all of this other energy is like, no, you need to move, and you know it's time for you to move. And you know that we're not going to allow you to be comfortable where you are. I'm like, okay. And that's why I went to the thing today. That's why I started doing my work, even though I'm like almost 2.5 hours into the study break. um, but yeah, thanks to the past few days, I've really gotten to a point where like I accept it and I'm moving with it. And I feel like I'm honestly in a space where like I can do everything that I was doing. I can help and I can serve and I can be there, but I can also still take care of myself at the same point. And I know that I'm in that space. A, because I'm choosing to be in it, and B, because I have to be in it to get where I'm going. And I know that I'm going to get where I'm going. And so I know that I'm going to do the things that I need to do now. So it's kind of that simple. With the Chariot now at the bottom of the deck. Hey, we moving forward because we ain't got no choice. You see them stars? Because we want them stars. And the Chariot, they only got the wheel. That's the Wheel of Fortune with the sun and the stars. That's what we're moving towards. And I've been getting the sun card a lot. I've been seeing it didn't come out in this deck, but I've been seeing the sun card a lot. I've been seeing the star a lot lately. But yeah, that's what I got for me. Since no one else is speaking, I guess I will shut this down. I do want to get one last card because I do like to get one last card, one last message before I put cards away. Move. NYC, baby girl. Nah, nope. That's too much movement. Blooming Rose. Oh, the Emperor in the World at the cut. Okay. Like the world is your oyster, my dude. But you got to assume that emperor position and you got to step up and you got to move and you got to do all the things because the emperor don't rule from the bedroom. I mean, y'all know what I mean. But yeah, NYC is too much movement. Like I'm not. I'm a still need to breathe, Bloomin' Rose. But hey, if NYC is where I move, if NYC is where I end up, then I didn't see that one coming for me. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it if I end up there, right? I'm actually kind of sort of looking at Seattle, but I don't know if a Seattle is right now or if a Seattle is long term. But there's this space that I saw myself in again earlier today, and it's because I feel like I've come upon a major realization. It's because I come upon the key. Oh my gosh, now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. Now I get it. And now I know why it was in reverse. Because of the way that I found it. Goodness. But now that I have it, yeah, things have been changing. Things have changed a lot in the past few days. And it's just kind of, ooh, with that moon card, yeah, it was in ways that I didn't even expect. And it's still going to continue in more ways that I don't expect. Expect the unexpected and live with the purpose of seeing a brighter tomorrow. And living to see a brighter tomorrow is different than living to run away from the shadows of the past. Because if you're living running from the shadows of the past, you're moving forward, but you're looking back. And yeah. Okay, last card. I'm not going to talk about me. Let's shuffle me out of this. For whoever will see this, Nine of Cups, I like it. For the folks in the chat right now, one last piece of advice. Oh, yep. I'll take this card. The Five of Pentacles. Oof, this is interesting. What's at the bottom of the deck? What's clarifying this five? Because I'm scared to leave it. Okay, the Nine of Cups. All right. So this is it. Sometimes. Oh, no. No, let's turn that back. Okay. So on one hand, sometimes to get what you really want, to get where you're going ultimately, you have to leave some things in the past. Right. But I'm feeling like there's this divorce that needs to happen in order for us to get everything that we want. Nine of Cups, wish granted, right? There's this separation that we need to create from our old selves. But when we separate from ourselves, we're healing it when we do it. So we're not creating this separation within us that it's like we're not cutting off parts of ourself for our shadow to feed on and to grow stronger, right? We're not fueling the shadow with hurt, guilt, shame, regret, like all of that stuff. When we do this Five of Pentacles walking away, we're not feeding into any of that. Because, or maybe it's the closing of the separation. It's like, oh, I wish I had a thing, but it's like there are three positions: A, B, and C. C is the past, A is the future, B is who we are, right? And so as we close this gap between, as we move from past to future, the separation, oops, I don't know where this came from. The separation from the past increases, but the separation towards the future decreases. And so there's going to be this Five of Cups feeling here where we're moving away. I'm sorry. There's going to be Five of Pentacles here as we move away. But there's also a Five of Pentacles here that we gain, right? As we move from C to A. And it's like this Five of Pentacles, as we move from C, like we already have this five. And as we move forward, we're picking up another five. So that by the time we reach A, we have 10, right? Everything that we want. But it's like, I don't know. It's like it's us separating from ourselves in some way, but we're not separating in a way that would cause like further harm to our own psyche, if that makes sense. Blooming Rose, no, stop. That is NYC energy, isn't it? 10 of Swords and 10 of Wands. 10 of Wands is me like running with coffee. 10 of Swords is like, hey, I'm walking over here. What are you doing? Let me stop. But that's NYC. Oh my gosh, you're right. You're right. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. This was fun. I enjoyed it. Um, y'all can see my flabby arm. Let me stop. But yeah. So I'm gonna cut it here. It's been 2 hours, 23 minutes, and 50 seconds as of now. Thank you again, Bloom and Rose, for coming in. Thank you, Clorinda, for stopping by, and Miyoshi. Thank you to the viewers, the watchers. And I am going to do the things that I need to do now because it is already like 8 o'clock and I still haven't done work today. But fortunately, I did enough last night that, I'm pretty much done. All I got to do now is like copy and paste from the homework that I already did. Copy and paste the formulas into the new. But yeah. All right, I'm gonna shut this down here. Oops. Thank y'all again for coming. I appreciate your presence. And this did not work on Streamlabs on my phone, but it ended up working out. Y'all couldn't see how all the cards were like laid out, but it's fine. Like if y'all wanted to see my face, if Spirit wanted my face to be seen, here it is. Um, but yeah, it was really fun. And I'll catch y'all maybe. Well, I'm gonna do Aries. I want to do Aries season before I do the first decade of Aries. Wow, it's gonna be Aries season. Oof. All right. Well, yeah, I'll be on here sometime. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, hopefully, I'll be doing work, right? That's what I really need to be doing. So, I am going to limit myself next time. But I'm feeling a lot better after this. So, hey, it helps me process my downloads, right?